So, here we are, tasting wine with Pete Dave.
G'day, mate. Okay.
Pete, you know what holiday it was this week in America?
I've heard something about Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving.
You could probably tell me more about that than I already
I tell you what, it's a time when I relate to the family, because it was always a big family time for us.
Is it as big as Christmas or bigger?
Oh yeah, it's as big as Christmas.
Because it's something we don't relate to in Australia. There's no Thanksgiving
It's all
equivalent.
about stuffing yourself.
Yeah.
I think it was about the Pilgrims in the old days. They were thankful for the natives in America, showing them how to cultivate the earth.
How to get the bounty from the
earth,
basically. Okay.
Absolutely.
Right.
And it's turned into a big family holiday. Plus, you get to watch the gridiron football all day long, all night long.
You have to have bets on how long the national anthem goes for and stuff.
Yeah. And it's a reminder of when Christmas is coming. And they used to always turn on the Christmas lights in every town across America on Thanksgiving night. And of course, they would be on every night till the middle of January. And I decided, reminiscing about all of this, I'm going to make it a white Christmas this year, Pete.
Oh, right, okay.
A white Christmas.
Oh,
when I run out of white, I'm going to make it red.
Very good.
All right.
Well, it's a cold time of the year over there, of course. We forget that. It's midwinter there, where it's like midsummer, coming into winter, where it's coming into summer here. So
I think we should make T-shirts.
we probably should. Yeah. When I run out of white, I'll start on the red. I'll make
All
it white
right. We've got three
we
whites
got?
here. Semillon, Sauvignon Blanc, and Chardonnay. And then I've got three reds, a couple of Shiraz and a Cabernet.
Excellent.
Yeah. The first we're starting with is the Hunter Valley Elizabeth, Mount Pleasant. Yeah,
McQuillan's Mount Pleasant Elizabeth. Well,
2012.
That's one of the famous wines in Australia. It used to be widely regarded as the best white wine bargain that you could buy in a bottle shop. But that was back in the day when this was always released with bottle age. Now, it's one of those funny things we often talk about, that Semillon is a wine that wine purists like, but it's been difficult to get the punters to
love
get into it.
The grassy, there's plenty of citrus. It's just absolutely beautiful. If you're not looking for that full blast of a Sauvignon Blanc, this is beautiful.
Well, I mean, the thing about it is, it's crisp and clean and zingy and zesty. It's got that big belt of acid across the middle palate, which of course is what Semillon has, which enables it to age. That's why the Hunter Semillon's aged so well. They've got that great structure, but lots of acid, but really well balanced acid as well.
Just the white tannins. What do you call that?
Oh, phenolics.
White
grains. Yeah. Oh, it does. It just goes good.
Plenty of acid. There's some citrus in there, and that grassy sort of characteristic. Beautiful, and that's going to age very well.
Absolutely. Well, it's going to age well because it's got the pedigree. We've seen what it does other vintages.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Now, another one of my favorites here. I'll say this over and over and over again.
I was going to say, I think I've heard this before. Actually, you were saying to me though, Villa Maria, they're not the biggest producers in New Zealand? Second biggest, yeah.
Villa Maria Sauvignon Blanc. Now this is 2013, so it's nice and young and fresh.
Actually, how you want it.
And Villa Maria are the second largest winemakers in New Zealand, and
after Montana, I guess, or Grand Cot Estate as we call them now here.
That's right. Yeah, and they are always the most awarded winemakers in New Zealand. So I would say they're still carrying that tradition.
Well, I think they were another one that started out. Were they Croatians? The fellow that started out.
Yes.
And he's been doing it for 50 years. Or I remember seeing last year all the talk about the celebrations and everything.
Wow.
They make it a lot of different wine, Villa Maria, and they cover most of the bases very well. So.
Yeah, they do, and they've got several different levels in their labels.
So this is
the private label.
Yep, the entry level.
Entry level, and
so this is
full of passion fruit, isn't it?
Well, you know what though, again, there's no lantana leaf, there's no overt sort of herbaceous edge to that. It's, for a wine that is produced in such big quantities, it smells really bold and fruit driven.
And across the palate, you get that huge gooseberry and passion fruit and those citrus characteristics, and there's plenty of acid there.
Yeah, it's quite soft acid. I mean, again, that's the other thing, the exact opposite of the Semillon. That's why the Sauvignon Blanc doesn't age particularly well, because there's not enough acid to keep it fresh for a long time. But when you're looking at something that you want to drink over the next 12 months, then it doesn't need any more than that. And that's, when you think about how much of it they make, that's a pretty good effort, really.
Beautiful summertime wine, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yep, beautiful, clean, fresh.
It'd go with the seafood Christmas dinner, right? All right.
Seafood and eat it.
All right. The next we've got here is the Devil's Lair. This is the Margaret River Chardonnay.
Okay.
2012, Pete, and this one took a gold medal at the recent wine show.
At the National Wine Show here in Canberra. Yep. Okay. Very good. Well, I mean, Devil's Lair again has been around the scene for a while now. One of the, I guess, flagship operations in Margaret River. 2012, another good vintage in Margaret River. It gets a bit tiring, really, for the rest of the country because they don't seem to have bad ones. The rest of the Australian wine scene would probably secretly hope that someday soon Margaret River has a dodgy vintage because it might help all of them out. But
wow.
Well, that's big fruit, plenty of oak, lots of things happening there, but nothing out of place, I wouldn't have thought.
Yeah, I get that straight away. I get that the fruitiness and the vanilla from the oak straight away, which makes
and
that
creaminess from the malo. All of those things that are classic Chardonnay characteristics.
Across the palate, the same thing. That's an absolute beautiful, well balanced.
I can see why the judges like that.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at the other two wines that we've just had, the Semillon and the Sauv Blanc, and say, well, they might be, your fish and chips type wines. This would be lobster. This would be the richer, creamier sauce, and this would work pretty well. Having said that, I mean, I think this is this is a $40 wine, but it does what you want it to do.
I would say this. You'd even have this with the turkey, wouldn't you?
You could indeed. Yeah. Well, chicken, turkey. Yeah, yes. You absolutely could have this with turkey. Yep.
Absolutely beautiful.
That's pretty impressive. So yeah, very good.
All right, next one. Now this is Grant Burge. This is the winemaker's selection, Barossa Shiraz.
Okay.
And this is a 2011.
Right. Okay.
Grant Burge being pretty big in the Barossa.
Yeah. Yep.
I'd say he's got a lot of fruit to select from.
He does.
2011 wasn't the best of years for winemakers, but...
well, not in the Barossa, no. But having said that, a lot of them were able to do interesting things, like you just come up with a different style and you're making something a bit lighter bodied and a bit spicier. If you can get ripe fruit, then there's no reason why the wine should be, less than good.
Got some beautiful ripe fruit on the nose.
Yep. Yes, and cherries, raspberries, that sort of stuff on the nose. Really, it's really all about fruit. There's whatever oak is in that is negligible. There's really no over oak characteristic at all, which probably keeps the price down as well.
There's a bit of a raspberry character there, Pete, on the palate, and then I get chocolate.
Okay. So you get cherry ripe in a glass.
Cherry ripe in a glass.
Yeah, cherry ripe in a glass.
That's absolutely fabulous.
Well, see, there you go. So if you were to look at that as a stereotype, you'd walk past that on a bottle shop shelf and you'd say, well, it's 2011, I'm not going to be buying that.
I'm impressed.
And I'll find something else. And then you look at the wine in a blind tasting context or objectively and you think, well, wow, that's actually not as bad as I thought it would be. And in fact, it's got a lot of interesting stuff happening.
I think that's why it keeps. It's great to keep an open mind when it comes to wine because you just never know from vintage to vintage what they're going to come up with. And
no, that's true.
That's beautiful. Now I'm looking forward to this, Pete. This is the Heathcote Estate.
All right.
This is 2011, and I don't know too much about Heathcote Estate.
Well,
I believe the one of the fellas involved with the wine show is.
Oh right, yeah. Well, Tom Carson is the overseer of the operation. He started out, or he made his name, if you like, at Yering Station in the Yarra Valley. Then he went from there to Yabby Lake. He was headhunted by the guys at Yabby Lake, and Yabby Lake look after Heathcote Estate. So Tom Carson is effectively the fellow who oversees this operation, if you like, and he was the past chairman of judges at the National Show. The current chairman is Steve Pannell, and Tom Carson was the fellow who did it before him. And Tom Carson, in fact, made the top Pinot at the National Wine Show. That was a Yabby Lake wine that sells for lots of money, and there wasn't much of it. But it shows you that, yeah, he knows what he's doing from a winemaking perspective as well.
Between the time he got up out of his seat and got to the stage,
they reckon it had all sold out.
Yeah, all of his wine sold out.
I think they made the MC made that point in it. It won a couple of awards, and they said at the end of the first award, there might be still some around, but then 20 minutes later, the next time he got the award, said, "No, it's all gone now."
Yeah. Oh boy, that's that big dark berry. I get sort of these plummy characters and big dark berry. Characters, really ripe fruit in there.
Ripe fruit, but not overripe. I often find with Heathcote that there is an issue with overripe or overly alcoholic characters in the reds. Maybe it helped the fact that 11 was a bit cooler than other years, but that strikes me as being really quite well balanced. I mean, it's a premium red. There's no risk about it. That's got some really good fruit. And
kind of a dusty palate.
You're getting those tannins.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
That's a lovely wine.
But that's almost like a European tannin structure. The fine grained, quite firm tannin, but sort of frames all of that nice ripe berry fruit.
Oh yeah, it's a lovely way, and it lingers on the palate. It's just I'm still getting that sensation of those dark berry fruits on the middle palate. It's just lovely.
Yeah, well, medium bodied and dare I say quite elegant for Heathcote.
Yeah, beautiful.
Good drink.
Excellent. All right, our next wine, our last wine here, Pete. This is the Climbing Cabernet Sauvignon. Now this is from out in Orange.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to this.
Well, these guys are the biggest players, if you like, in grape growing and winemaking in Orange. Started out as part of the Philip Shaw empire. There was a bit of a parting of the ways there fairly early on in the piece, but the Climbing label is one of the key labels in Orange.
Oh, right.
So yeah.
Big black currant on the nose. I get big black currant. Now this is the vintage. Did I say 2011?
Yeah, the vintage is 11 again. So again, probably one of the things that would help the fact that by Orange standards, these guys are big players. So they've got a bit of fruit to pick from, so to speak. And we often talk about the fact that in a potentially awkward vintage, the bigger companies, like they do in South Australia, the bigger producers are able to cherry pick and get the good fruit. So
yeah, and speaking of cherries, I definitely got some cherries across the palate there, as well as, like I said, the black currant, and it's a lovely fruit feel on the palate.
I mean, there's really quite a savoury, almost funky edge to the nose.
Yeah.
It doesn't smell like Pinot, but you talk about cherries in Pinot, and you're getting a cherry character on the nose of this.
Yeah.
But a little bit of a suggestion of the dustiness as well. That would lead you towards the Cabernet.
Another excellent drop for the Christmas dinner. Absolutely fantastic.
Yep. Quite elegant. Enough middle palate generosity to keep you interested, and nice length of flavour. So a pretty good effort.
It's something I could drink on its own as well. I don't necessarily need food for that.
But you could have that rare roast beef, that sort of stuff. That would work pretty well. So no, they've done a good job with that. From what would have been a difficult vintage, they've come up with a good result. So very good.
Excellent.
Okay.
Well, thanks again, Pete.
No problem.
And we'll see you again next week.
I think that's on the card.